Ramana, at the age of 16, wanted to find out what death really meant. He lay down, shut his eyes, turned his mind inward, and tried to move towards death. He ended all thoughts, ended all effort. He went to deeper states of consciousness until the sense of I was not there. He then came to a state where he experienced immortality. When he arose, the effects of the experience so overpowered him that he could not continue normal life. He gave himself up completely to the state of experience of immortal. His central teaching is to find out at every instant, in every act, which in truth lives, thinks, acts, and is attentive to the act of seeing. The goal is to reach the precise place in ourselves where all thoughts, beginning with the sense of I, arises. He says it's enough to become aware of what one is. Then all the problems of life are perceived and solved. It's the lack of awareness that's the fundamental problem, and one must address oneself to it as it governs the destiny of mankind and contains all other problems. Memory, thought habits, accumulated tendencies, all are hindrances. Trace every thought to its origin. Then thought and mind will both die of inaction. Live always in the present. There is no past or future save in the mind. Any method within the framework of the mind cannot lead to freedom and happiness. Be silent. That does not mean do not speak. Happiness is natural and inherent in us. All we have to do is to be aware of it and discover it. It is deep inside each one of us. We must turn the mind inside instead of the natural habit of turning outward. In that state, that which is the beyond the mind is seen. This is the shortest, safest, and most reliable method, and within the capacity of all. Meditation on any kind of object is not helpful. One must realize that the subject and object are one. By meditating on an object, you are destroying the sense you will discover something, but it's not for me to say what that individual experience will be. It will reveal itself. Hold on to that. Methods such as chanting, repeating sacred symbols purify the mind. These practices are valuable, but only temporary aids. Instead, question persistently with the keen intellect as to what the mind is. You will then find that the mind is just a bundle of thoughts. How is self-inquiry is done? Self-inquiry is not really a question put in the form of who am I? No answer is to be sought because any answer would be from the mind. Instead, the question creates an attitude of questioning and a spirit of inquiry as to our identity. Be saturated with the spirit of inquiry as to how one can find out. All dualistic ideas are questioned so that thought cannot flourish. There is a need for unhurried and recollected way of life. Our actions are incomplete, and if it is not over and done with, when the action is taking place, it leaves a memory mark called tendency. It is really thought in seed form. The seed causes thoughts to rise and keeps alive the sense of individuality. There is completeness only in being aware of the present. The experience of truth, which is full of joy, creative, relaxed, is easy for those who can understand the truth. However, human nature wants things to be complicated and complex. If this attitude is changed, we see the truth. The surrendering mind is also the inquiring mind. When the mind sees the beyond and its immensity, it ceases its struggle and forgets tensions and anxieties. If you do not believe in God or a beyond, which is all powerful, then leave it alone. Our daily work need not be a hindrance to this self-attention. Start with a few minutes every day. Do it regularly. Initially, the attention will be on outside objects and people, and only gradually will it become focused on the self. Every time one turns towards the I, worldly tendency will pull one's mind outwards. With detachment from objects, such tendencies will come down. There is one who governs the world, and it is his business to look after it. He who has created the world knows how to guide it. Also, if we progress, the world progresses. The way to serve the world is to achieve the egoless state. Many people are worried about the world. As you are, so is the world. The world can be improved only by one's own improvement. Every path except self-inquiry presupposes the retention of the mind as the instrument for following it. Then the ego may take different, more subtle forms, but is never destroyed. Self-inquiry alone can reveal the truth that neither the ego nor the mind really exists. It is the rise of the ego that is the cause and source of all other thoughts. One should remain as a witness to whatever happens, adopting the attitude, let whatever strange things happen, let them happen. This should be one's practice. In this manner, the mind becomes quiet of its own accord. Of all the restrictive rules, Pure food in moderate amount is the best. The mind should not be allowed to wander towards worldly objects and what concerns other people. Both desire and hatred should be avoided. Be humble. God, the individual soul, the world are all appearances. Supreme power of God makes all things move. One can know oneself only with one's eye of knowledge and not with somebody else's. There is no need for endless reading. To quieten the mind, one has to only inquire within oneself. How could this search be done in books? It is futile. In fact, there will come a time when one will have to forget all that one has learned. The rule of conduct is moderation in food, sleep, and speech. All activities of the wise man exist only in the eyes of the other, not in his own eyes. Although he may be accomplishing immense tasks, he really does nothing. Supernatural powers come unsought to some persons. They are used with the object of enjoying fame and pleasure for oneself. Enlightened inquiry alone leads to liberation. The illusion of bondage, fabricated by ignorance from time immemorial, can be removed only by knowledge. Liberation is described in different ways, and that proves that they are imaginary. All realized persons leave aside mere verbal discussions and see neither bondage nor liberation as far as the true self is concerned. Undoubtedly, it is possible for everyone to arrive at that state.